Hey everybody, it's Henry with the Film Buds podcast. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks. 82. Let's get to Air, which came out, I think, springish summer of last year, and it is on Amazon Prime now. It's an Amazon original. It's directed by Ben Affleck, stars Matt Damon, Jason Bateman, Ben Affleck, Chris Messina, Viola Davis, Julius Tenen, Chris Tucker, a few others. And the synopsis is follows the history of sports marketing executive Sonny Vaccaro and how he led Nike in its pursuit of the greatest athlete in the history of basketball, Michael Jordan. So I've been meaning to get around to this one for a while. I really like Ben Affleck as a director. I think when he directs and stars, he typically makes his best work. And I don't know exactly the reason for that, but typically his directorial efforts are some of his best in his whole filmography, both from an overall filmmaking perspective and also acting as well. But I do think that unlike his recent 4 or 5 efforts directing wise, this is the one that I think captured my interest the least right away. Like, I'm all up for a good movie, and we'll get into why this works so well. I love a movie, whether it's a true story or not, that can make you interested in something that you wouldn't immediately be interested in learning about. Like, I'm not a big basketball fan. Nothing against it, just personally not something I was ever really into growing up or now. I'm more of a baseball, soccer guy. And of course, I know Michael Jordan. I mean, I'm from North Carolina, so that's a big deal in and of itself. I knew all about him growing up. And so I was fairly familiar with his story and his timeline. I didn't know anything about making the Air Jordan and how that all came to be. And that's why I think this movie works really well is even though I don't really care about basketball that much, I don't really love or get freaked out, geeked out by shoes, cool shoes. All the things in this movie got me interested. Directing, acting, the writing. So that by itself is a big strong point that I was not immediately sure of going in. And you do learn a lot about the story. And on that, one thing I really appreciated as it went on, and I know that Ben Affleck didn't write the screenplay, which is surprising because he often does, at least will co-write it. But the script, something that I found very, very refreshing and engaging was there's a lot of bits of aw shucks, free chicken information, fun facts sprinkled throughout this script that really make you think, oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. Like, oh, that's interesting. Like, it's stuff that feels, I'm guessing it's true. It seemed true from all the stuff that I heard and looked up afterwards. But I really appreciated that they really did their homework, or maybe they're just smart and know a lot about it already, or both. But I love that there's all these bits of information that I was picking up just through regular dialogue without it being obnoxious or heavy handed. It was just sort of characters speaking of that world and speaking of the history without it being too clunky. So I loved the script. I thought the script was very strong. It's not too long, it's like 2 hours. The pacing is good. Like Ben Affleck, very strong from a filmmaking perspective. Like I think he has a good understanding of what makes a crowd pleasing yet thoughtful, entertaining, fun, comedic dramedy, I guess you could call it. And so I think he really has a great sense of story, both directing and when he does write scripts. So overall, it's a very good movie. Matt Damon is awesome. He's perfect for that role. Viola Davis is great as Michael Jordan's mom. She's not always someone I love. Like sometimes I find her to overact occasionally, but Ben Affleck is great. Really, Jason Bateman, everybody, list goes on. It's a very, very good cast. And the story, regardless of your interest, as I was saying earlier, I think pretty much anyone could get engaged with this and find it interesting. It's not so in depth about basketball lore or anything that it's only going to appeal to basketball fans. It's a wide, broad look into this story. And it's a very important one considering Michael Jordan, as the synopsis says, really is the most famous, successful athlete ever, at least in America, but probably in the whole world. And the brand marketing aspect, I won't get into it too much if you don't know the story, but him getting his name attached to merchandise and how that has spread through all of modern sports and players and getting marketing deals and brand deals and all that stuff. So it's really well thought out. The direction isn't too obnoxious for the most part. There are a few points that are a little trying too hard, I think, at certain times, but not a big deal. So it wouldn't be a best of the year, like it wouldn't be in my top 10, but in the middle of the pack towards the top of Ben Affleck's directorial works, one of his recent best just overall films, because he definitely has a fair share of duds in his career. So would recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime, so it's easy to pop on. And yeah, so that is a heavy, heavy 4 out of 5.